I'm in the bedroom. I just hear the like smoke alarm go off. And he's like, I don't know what happened. I was just trying to cook the rice.
What's up, guys? It's NGEN Radio. Marcus right here, getting a chance to go in-depth behind the scenes and talk to some of your favorite artists. Today, I got a couple in here. I got the Hulveys, and I'll get a chance to go behind the scenes with them right now. I'll let them introduce themselves.
What's going on? This is Hulvey, a.k.a. Chris Hulvey. It's my wife, Rachael Hulvey.
Hey, guys, I'm excited to be here.
I got to say this, man. I was talking behind the scenes, and I was like, what is Hulvey's first name? And I was like, he looks like a Chris.
Oh, really?
So I actually guessed that. Do people get a chance to ask you that all the time? What's your first name?
Yeah, they know it because of the album Christopher, so they'll just say Christopher.
Yeah.
I go by Chris now, so it's funny, but that's
Does your parents still call you Christopher?
Chris.
They call you Chris.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Love it. And why'd you start your career using Hulvey? Like, if I'm an artist, my artist name couldn't be Sullivan. That would just be that would just be terrible. Hulvey's dope though.
Chris Hulvey just didn't click.
Yeah.
It just didn't.
You had other names
I had
before?
music. I tried doing Hove for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That didn't click.
You was never like
Ace
MC
Harris
or
at Reach helped me. He was
Ace,
like, Hulvey, that's it. I was like, okay.
He picked it?
Yeah, before I was signed. He was just typing one day on the laptop.
Wow.
Just to help me. You know what I mean? And I was like, oh, that's it. Like, that feels right. And I feel like I'm representing my family. And my granddad passed when I was like 7. So I feel like it's like owed to him. And you know what I mean? It's just the whole thing. So
you never went through the little this and ice that?
No.
You from the new generation. I love it. Now you guys is a couple in here, man. And we were just talking. You guys are Team Hulvey and Team everything.
Yes.
Let's just dive back into it. I remember a post when, I think it was the engagement or the marriage, right?
Mm-hmm.
Take me back right before that. Or let's take us back to when you guys actually first met before the marriage. How'd you guys meet?
How did
Talk to him, Rachael.
Rachel's a TikTok star, by the way.
I am not a TikTok star.
Yes.
I just like have fun on there. So we had a mutual friend. Her name's Wande. She's also signed to Reach Records. And I went to college with her at the University of Texas, Hookham. Best university ever. And I was like, one day I was just talking to her on FaceTime and I was like, hey, if you know anyone, like, you can set me up. And then she was like, wait, actually, I do know this guy Hulvey. He just got signed to Reach. Like, he hasn't been announced. And I was like, oh, okay. And then she was like, just follow him on Instagram. And so I was like, okay. So I followed him. And then
no way.
Like, he did not follow me back though. So that's.
Do you remember her following and you just didn't follow
I
back?
remember her following me. And the reason why I didn't follow back, I was like, man, this is a really pretty girl. I don't want to.
He was like, I don't want the enemy to get
I
involved.
was like, man, I'm just going to chill.
Wait, where was your musical career?
I was signed, but I wasn't announced to the public.
Okay.
So I really didn't have a career. I lived on $5,000 for like 6 months.
So was the buzz even there?
I had a little bit from like motions. It was very like
he had 5,000
niche.
followers.
Yeah,
okay.
But I had like niche like Christian rap buzz.
Okay.
So not like a real like
it didn't
legitimate.
Hit. Okay.
No.
And did you had never heard of his music at all?
No, I honestly didn't really know about CHH until him. So I was like...
Wait, was One Day rapping at that time?
She was, but she was just my friend that also rapped. Like, I was just like, oh yeah, you rap, whatever. But I didn't. I was like, I listened to more like worship, you know, than I just did not listen to CHH yet. And so...
Yeah, Rachel, when I met her, she was pretty out of the loop on a lot of the... my world of music. And I thought that was really cool because it could be awkward if somebody's just loving everything you do and then they don't know how to like... I don't know, bring a different perspective so yeah, it was really cool just like meeting someone who was just bringing a whole nother vantage point.
So the follow back, the initial conversation goes.
Yeah, so Wande then told me about Rachael because I was also like, hey, if you have anybody, because Wande's like the ultimate wingman.
Wing woman.
Seriously, the best wing woman there is. So she told me like 2 people and when I saw Rachael, I was like, that's it. Like, I was like, man, like the way she was talking about her and just the way she loved the Lord, I was like, man, I'm really interested. So I was like, oh, this is the girl that followed me a couple days ago. So I follow her.
Wow.
And then it was just like, I reached out to her on DMs and then we just talked and we had that security knowing that Wande was a trusted source. You know what I mean? Yeah, she was the buffer. So it just made it easy to talk. And then after that, a couple weeks later, we FaceTimed and it was like, I remember just right when we got off the phone, either the first or second call, I was like, man, I'm gonna marry her. Just
no way.
Yep. And I don't recommend that to everybody to do that. It was, for me, it was like just seeing her heart for him. And then like the way we were able to really click and talk about things we had been through. We both had similar rejections from like growing up in school, and just like I wanted to make the basketball team and just struggled to make the team. She was talking a lot about her theater experiences, and it was like, oh, we're clicking on that. Just normal stuff. Yeah. And I was like, oh, we really clicked. So yeah, man, it was.
And I felt like one of my biggest prayers was just someone who would pursue me so clearly, because I feel like there had been so many guys in the past that it was so much confusion. And one of my best friends always says, you know, God's not a God of confusion. And I would just be praying. I'd be like, can you just, like, Lord, whoever it is, can you help them to pursue me so clearly? And I even prayed, I said, and God, like, could you help it to be like whoever it is would like know right away, like, oh, that's my wife, and even like say it. And he didn't say it to me until we were like
in my room,
like engaged or married, that he told me that. But I was like, oh my gosh, like that was a prayer answer.
Yeah.
You know?
All right. So how long did you guys date before the proposal?
10 months.
Yeah, I get the time.
I remember these things.
10
you
months.
was not playing around. 10 months in the game. Did you? Okay, take us through the proposal.
Oh man, I did like I guess you call it a scavenger hunt, right, Rach? I basically took her on a scavenger hunt where I had like these different letters that I would write like personal things based on the place it was at, or the person attached to it type of thing. But at each point was like a different family member in her life, like her brothers or her dad. But you know what I mean?
Like one of my brothers literally flew in from Vegas, and
it was
I
really
remember
beautiful.
I started crying. I was like, oh my gosh, you're here. And I like literally all like 3 of my best friends were there.
It was beautiful, man.
Yeah.
You set the bar on that one.
Had to, man.
Yeah.
But
had a photographer.
I got a lot of
there.
help. Like I tapped in, just getting help from her friends, and I was like, man, if I do this on my own, this is gonna go south.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna go back. You went to UT. Where were you living when she was at UT?
Brunswick.
That's
Southeast Georgia.
Okay, yeah. And then how did you end up in Houston? Because
of Rachael.
Literally, we did long distance the whole time. But here's what was crazy. So we started dating in December of 2019. So that means we really started dating in 2020, right before COVID. COVID hits, which was obviously like a really hard thing, but it was a blessing in disguise for us because all his shows got canceled, but that actually meant we had so much time together because no one could go to work. So he was literally just always around. He didn't have any busy schedule. I didn't have a busy schedule. And so it was like, looking back, God literally provided all this time for us to really be able to be intentional.
It's like the year of pursuing her, I'd say.
At
honestly.
this point, the musical career, I'm trying to think, pandemic, it wasn't even buzzing then. Where was your faith in his career at that point?
Oh.
So I remember we're sitting on the stairs, like in my apartment, and like
about
all his
15 minutes, the old apartment, 15 minutes from this studio.
Yes, actually, we used to live over in this area, and like he's like all his shows got canceled. Like I'm like, I don't know, COVID might be forever.
Really?
Yeah.
I literally told him, I was like, I think you're gonna have to get another job.
You said, babe, you're gonna have to get another job. You said.
I was like hearing her out. I was like, dang, right? I mean, I remember I was
you
frustrated.
But you were like, I mean, if I have to, but like,
I think I can stick this out. You know, I think I can stick it out. And
Broken
Heart had came out.
When did Christopher drop?
2021. So I hadn't even had an album out. Or
Motions
anything.
was already out.
Motions was out. We were playing that.
I just didn't have much going. You know, I just didn't have much going on, and so.
But what's crazy is you were recording most of that Christopher album in a bedroom during COVID.
That's right.
Okay. COVID, world shuts down. Gigs are down. You said you were broke. She smiled.
Legitimately, yes.
The faith was still strong, or did it actually waver like, this is going to be tough?
Faith was strong.
Well, and there was a really beautiful moment about tithing, remember?
Oh, yeah,
And so there was a point
actually,
when like I just like really have been passionate about tithing for so long. And, you know, he was like really broke. And I just said, you know, I know this is crazy, but I just really believe in tithing, no matter how much you're missing, like no matter how hard it is. That's the one place the Lord says, test me in that. And, you know, and he was at first just like frustrated, like, what do you mean? Stop saying that. I'm broke. I can't, you know, and then I was just like, I don't know. I just would pray about it. You know, you do have something you can give. And so then later, you know, I had to go to work. You know, he was
I was at your dad's
Yeah.
house.
Okay, you're at my dad's
At your
house.
parents'
And
house
so
in the studio.
he finally texted me. He's like, hey, I just prayed. God told me to give this amount. I gave it. And then just a little while later,
Probably
his
like-
label.
What was the encouragement while you were at dad's house as a grown man and the money wasn't there to take care of the daughter? You know what I mean?
The thing is, her dad's a musician. So her dad knows and understands the trajectory of a musician, understands that life and kind of what comes from that. And I think as they got to know me, they knew I cared about her enough. Where if I had to get a job, I would have. If I had to, whatever I had to do, you know what I mean? I think I proved that.
Yeah.
So
when you first told dad he's a musician, how did he light up, or did he go, hold on, man? Like, how did it work?
Oh, he was excited.
Yeah.
I mean,
especially
he's
when
been
when we would like talk, that's what
still.
Yeah.
still to this day we could
got
talk
stories,
for
yeah.
hours about music because we're both on the same wave and we're both similar because we like to trailblaze, and so we can
I
go
gotta
on
do a
and
song
on.
together.
Oh, 1,000. I brought him for the Houston show. He played live.
Wow.
And
he
the
plays the
whole
saxophone.
the whole venue erupted. The best moment of the night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So didn't a video go viral or something? Or was it the wedding or what was it? It was something that you put out. I can't remember what it was, but I remember I actually said on the air, I was like, fellas, we got to step our games up. I was after the post. It might have even been the engagement. But then let's talk about let's say the first 6 months of being married. Now you're sharing a space and you're actually.
It was just.
Yeah.
It was like, I look at it more of like circumstantial, not stress, but it was like a new world because life was moving really fast. Like the moment that we got married, I feel like my career started to actually go.
Yep.
Like about a month later. I remember because we were still struggling a little financially.
Okay.
We got married and out in the middle of nowhere, we were like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And so that started to grow. Right when we got married, just even with her, she was a youth pastor before, so we had like trips we were going on, came home, we were sick, and it was just like all this different stuff.
No, we literally got COVID like on our honeymoon.
I got COVID together. Y'all such a team. Sheesh. Okay.
we man, like it was just one of them years, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was just like, this is a lot.
Yeah.
Coming home
I mean, just like
tired.
arguments that were just like, what? Like, one thing that was crazy is like, we looked back at like all the arguments in the first year of marriage, first 6 months, all that. And it was like, the argument itself was about nothing. You know, it's just the way they would like blow up and it would be like, and so that always like made me feel like, okay, like we took nothing and blew it up and just.
Rachel, do me a favor. In the studio with the Hulveys right now, for that newlywed couple, give us a goofy argument story that today you like, we argued over the last piece of bread? Like, what do we, go for it.
Oh my gosh.
This will help somebody.
Okay. I'm trying to think. Okay, so there is one. That,
Go for it.
Comes to my mind. Okay, it's kind of crazy. So literally we're in like our 1-bedroom apartment, you know, just like way too much stuff. And I'm like, you know, in the bedroom because thankfully it wasn't a studio, it had a bedroom. And he decides he's gonna like cook rice in a bowl.
Oh, this one?
And he cooks it for like 12 minutes straight, I guess. I don't know. I was in the bedroom.
Watch
I wasn't
this.
there. And then all of a sudden, like, I'm in the bedroom. I just hear the like smoke alarm go off, and he's like, I don't know what happened. I don't know. I was just trying to cook the rice, and then like,
Bro,
you know,
the bowl
exploded. And so for me, I'm like, that's the bowl my mother gave me for my wedding gift, you know. And so then I was also like pregnant with so there's smoke everywhere. I'm pregnant with Memphis, so I'm being dramatic, and I'm like, I'm pregnant, you know, and this smoke is gonna get all over me. And it's just like, okay, come on, it's just a little like. It's nothing. And so then literally I'm like freaking out. I'm like, that's my bowl, you know? And then
wedding.
Literally we end up like going and like staying in a hotel.
It was that bad?
It was
The
not
smoke
that
was
bad.
all
We
over
were
the house.
We
She
were
was
so
pregnant.
dramatic.
So what
I
we
was
just
paranoid.
learned.
I was like, bro, because I naturally already just get paranoid sometimes.
What we just learned is Hulvey can't make rice. That's what we just
No, we
learned.
cannot.
Exactly.
You talk about the baby. Bringing a baby to this marriage. Now, how has the dynamics changed?
Oh,
It's been beautiful.
It's so crazy because it has literally brought us like so much closer together. And, you know, it's something to where it's like, I feel like it's made both of us think way less of ourselves because we're like, man, now there's this, like I hear so many like horror stories about kids where they don't get to choose their parents. You know, they do not get to choose. And so I'm like, but we have a choice.
Yeah.
We have a choice.
Hulvey, take me to the day where most men remember this moment, leaving the hospital with the baby.
Aww.
I'll take you. So we didn't leave with the baby till 11 days after he was born.
Okay.
So imagine your son's born, they put him on the table trying to get him to breathe, and then you can't really hold him. So for me, I didn't get this initial connection. I was like, man, like, what's going on? He's in the NICU for 11 days. So when we brought him home, there was a different level. What was your prayers like
in the NICU while you looking at him?
I texted a mentor. I said, hey, can you pray for healing for my son? Because the doctors were saying he possibly had a metabolic disease, which if anybody knows about them things, that is dangerous. That is like life altering.
Yeah.
And so we're like freaking out. I text a mentor of mine. He prays the next morning, all his sodium levels just go purely normal. Normal.
Yeah.
And I was like, I just really believe God healed him. And so we took him home a couple of days later. So the thankfulness level for me was a different level. Yeah. I remember sometimes we'll just watch the video back when I just clicked his car seat into the car. You could just see it in me how excited I was.
Yes, sir.
You know?
Did you do the skin to skin?
Some, yeah, of course.
How'd you feel when you
it's
did
beautiful.
that? Yeah. I tell people all the time, that is, as far as a father with a son, like that is the skin to skin, laying there, he sleep. That's absolutely
It's
amazing.
beautiful. At first, we couldn't do it as much because he was like strapped to the wires and stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
Like had a feeding tube, breathing tube.
The feeding tube, and so we couldn't.
Not breathing tube, but.
Yeah, the feeding tube, but
Baby gets home. Rachael, tell me about a time where baby's crying. You this new mother, the instincts are supposed to kick in, and you freaking out. You had that moment?
We racked up so much money and bills at the hospital from paranoia because, paranoia. Because we were like there was one time when like he was in this like fleece outfit. He was like all bundled up, and all of a sudden I'm like, he feels warm. So I like took his temperature, like, you know, the rectal temperature, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it says he's like over 100. Let's go to the hospital right now. And so he's like on the phone. He like hangs up his like work call. We run over to Texas Children's, and this baby's just like all so happy, smiling. And then they like take his temperature. They're like, he doesn't have a temperature. We're like, he did at home. He did. Yeah. And then they like are like, your child is fine. Right. I mean, we could run some tests on
You're the problem.
Yeah. And then we were like,
and when we would talk to people, they were like, look, man, it's just a part of it.
Yeah.
And I didn't know how normal that was. A lot of parents like, yeah, I've taken my baby to the ER multiple times just to make sure.
Yeah, we did. We did a lot.
You know, so.
Now, as a couple, right, you guys dated 10 months. How do you guys effectively still date each other? You got the career, you got the baby.
Man.
You got social. How do you effectively still date?
I mean, it could be a little harder to get as many dates in, but even the other night, we got to have a really quality date. And just like in the ways we try to do it, just try to see like if we can get a babysitter and you know what I mean, and just go for it, even if it's one time. And
as a couple, how do y'all feel on what's big to me, maybe small to you? Like some people might say, flowers are everything. Somebody else might be like, yo, these joints are just gonna die. And then somebody else is like, I want to take you to Paris, to the Eiffel Tower. And somebody else is like, I'd rather sit on the porch.
Yeah, I definitely think that one thing we've learned is like, I've learned, okay, just because I like this doesn't mean he likes it, vice versa. And like, I remember the first Christmas we had together, and I got him like all these like detailed, like his favorite gift cards, Chick-fil-A, all his favorite like candies, all this stuff. And then like he never ate any of it. He didn't like care about it or whatever. And I made it like so personal and detailed. And I realized like that's what I like, but he would rather just like one nice gift, like one gift that he really likes. Whereas I like the more like detailed.
Right.
Little.
So you just learned, I think you just learned to trade. It's like, okay, this is what you
love. The
love.
love languages? You guys know the...
Yeah, I mean...
Or do they change or...
I feel like it's totally changed for me.
Yeah.
I mean, I hear a bunch of guys all the time, like, physical touch is my love. I'm like, I feel you, man. And me too. But at the end of the day, I found myself appreciating so many different things across the spectrum. I'm like, I don't really...
Mine is words of affirmation.
Yeah.
Like, that's me. Like, what about you?
I think words of affirmation and quality time.
Quality. I feel like knowing you quality time got to be number one. Yeah.
You love quality time too.
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
While we're at the quality time point, and we were just talking before we started, man, you got to catch a flight to go record, or you got tour, you got feature.
I travel all the time. Yeah.
How does this work now as a family?
Man, we communicate.
Yeah.
We FaceTime every day. I'm on the road even more than once. We really talk.
We also just really plan out what trips me and Memphis are going to come.
Oh yeah, because they'll come. They'll come to stuff. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we come to a lot. I mean, Memphis has probably been on 30 flights, and he's 13 months old.
I think that's probably not even half of my stuff. So how much I travel, it's it's
so much.
insane. So that we just I just think that I'm so thankful that she's still able to look at me and see that I'm doing this because I love them. You know what I mean? And so it's a blessing, man, to just have such a flexible wife.
Speaking into that, talk to the guy who has the new family and encourage him to appreciate, or how would you encourage that person to appreciate the spouse that actually encourages and supports your movement around?
It's real easy. It's man, imagine her doing the opposite. Imagine her bickering at every last thing you do. Imagine you travel and she's on your line why are you doing this? Imagine that being every call. She's not, because she cares about you, your aspirations, your passions. She cares about you. And I feel that's how I think about my wife. It makes me appreciative because she sees the passion I have to go do what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And she supports it. She's behind. She doesn't just say she supports it and then I go do it and then she's like, why are you out?
Yeah.
She knew what she signed up for and I knew what I signed up for. Yeah. And so, I was
going to say, flip the script. How do you encourage the wife whose husband is out making a living, providing for, and is not there as much now, and the success is only growing?
It's important to, be thankful that, your husband is able to provide for the family and that he's also making a sacrifice. I know for Chris, he's getting up at 3 a.m. to get on these flights. He's exhausted. I mean, it's not like he's out just at Disney World or, on a cruise. He's working hard. And I think it's important to just not forget and hopefully for, a marriage that they are able to remember the intentional times they have when their husband's home. And I think it's just to what I always say to him as I say, because he'll be I'm so sorry I have to leave. I'm but that's part of life. Husbands need to go work, know? And if a spouse is never there and they're never intentional, that's one thing. But if your spouse is home and they have time for you, remember those moments. And that's what I do is I remember those moments.
Or do y'all do devotions together, separate? How y'all doing that? Or scriptures that y'all living by as a couple?
I feel we both kind of we do have our relationships with God, but we both will come to each other and be hey, I want you to hear this. This is something I was reading.
If something really compels me, I'm naturally just gonna tell her. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But I have to, between me and him,
same.
I have to know him.
Same.
Yeah.
Outside of all of it, I got to know him between me and him because I can't be there for her the way I want to be without really being close to him on my own.
Yeah.
Because you see a lot of this movement where people do devotionals together. I'm for sure. I'm man, do you know God yourself? What? Because there's some spouses I feel that could fake it till they make it.
Yeah.
It's she's gonna carry the weight, and I'm just gonna act like I'm there. Yeah. I want to go after him to the point where she sees my integrity behind closed doors. She sees the things I'm coming to her about. She sees the passion I have to grow and change and repent of. Am I lazy around the house? You're going to see I'm going to change because I'm walking with him.
Yeah.
But if I'm walking, following her instead of him, I could probably just get around,
It's actually good. Really good.
Yeah.
Final thought, and I'm glad we're here in a podcast form so people can see or hear and see your heart on it. What do you guys see this thing going? What's projected, the visions for the family as the success keeps rising? What's
cool is it's so cool you're asking that because we're actually in this time where I'm as leading this family, I'm proactively actually going after him about that right now. I'm Lord, what exactly is it that you want? Mm-hmm. So we're in this season of searching for it. I mean, I know.
And I think, too, that something that's really heavy on our hearts is it doesn't matter how big he gets, we're never better than anybody. You know, we're not, you know, and we're going to raise our kids, you know, to be humble servants. You're not entitled. You're not Hulvey's son, Memphis. You know, you are, you know, we're going to raise you to know you're God's child, and that we're not better than anybody. As he says, love your neighbor as yourself, put yourself in their shoes. And, you know, to just always, like, we always fight to stay humble, you know, just to be like, we're not better than anyone, you know?
I love it. Love it. 1-on-2 with the Hulveys right now, and Rachel, you are a TikTok star, so I'm not letting you get out here without looking right there at the camera and telling people, because y'all, she just gave us a lot of godly woman talk, but y'all want to see some goofy, fun stuff.
Go to her TikTok for all the goofy stuff.
I just love to laugh, okay? I love to laugh.
What's your TikTok?
Rachael Hulvey.
Very simple.
Very simple.
Yeah. Hey, Rachael.
That's right.
Musically, what do you got going on right now?
Working on an album, and I'm pretty stoked. And then I got this tour, and then, man, I got a big tour. I can't say with who yet, but I'm going on a tour with some really dope people later in the fall in August. So I'm just, man, thankful. So
well, bless both of y'all for coming through here and just peeling back the layers of entertainment couple.
You kidding me?
Parent. Yeah, so it was absolutely.
She killed it. I'm over here like looking at my wife like, man,
hey,
I wish I could answer like she can.
Rachel, can you rap?
No, oh my gosh, that's so embarrassing.
You never tried to put on a song?
He does. No, not on a song. I think on the
I'll try
spot.
to get her to rap,
and I'll be like, oh my
I love
gosh,
it.
I'm Rachael. I don't know how to do
You
this.
need to write up bars and put her on the song. There it is.
You want to do it?
That's so embarrassing.
I got the exclusive. That's what I need right here. The Hulveys right here on NGEN Radio. More of your favorites along the way.